Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news, the parents are on the run. Authorities looking for James and Jennifer Crumbly hours after they were charged in connection with the Oxford High School shooting.
I want to be really clear that these charges are intended to hold the individuals who contributed to this tragedy accountable and also send a message.
Also, prosecutors offer a chilling description of the hours before 15-year-old Ethan Crumbly was arrested. We are now following an all-out search for the parents of Ethan Crumbly. He is, of course, the teenager charged in the shooting that occurred at Oxford High School earlier this week. We're going to hear about the charges against the parents coming up. But first, this newest development, James and Jennifer Crumbly, they have seemingly disappeared. Our anchor and defender Karen Drew live in Pontiac with more. Karen.
This is an unbelievable story, Devin. So many twists and turns. Obviously, the big news this morning with those 4 charges of involuntary manslaughter for Jennifer and James Crumbly. When we did ask the prosecutor when the arraignment would be, there was a little bit of a pause there. Well, we did some digging and we found out early in the day those parents were on the run. Now, I can tell you what we've learned so far. We understand they were holed up in a motel at one point. They did hit an ATM, took $4 grand out, and now authorities are searching for them. Take a listen to what Sheriff Bouchard had to say just within the past hour.
Every available resource that is happening. It's going on right now. And if they're tuned in at all, they should do what they originally were supposed to do with their attorney, and that was to make themselves available for arrest.
I'm concerned for public safety. They've been charged with some serious crimes, and they need to be arraigned and have a bond set with bond conditions. So I'm concerned for public safety until that's done.
You really are?
Yes.
You heard it straight from Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald. She is worried about the public safety as Jennifer and James Crumbly are on the run. There is no information on whether or not they are armed or not, but Sheriff is saying if you do know where they are, do not approach them. We have some information. They're driving a black 2021 Kia Seltos. The license plate is DQG5203. From what we had earlier understood, they were supposed to turn themselves in if charges were announced. Their attorney has been trying to reach them. There has been no response, whether it be calls or text messages, Devin. So as we said, an all-out manhunt, and the sheriff is asking Jennifer and James Crumbly to turn themselves in immediately.
Karen, there is always that risk, that moment between the time that charges are announced and an arraignment occurs. There is always a bit of a flight risk. But in this case, as you mentioned, the prosecutor's office had reason to believe that they were going to be there for that arraignment.
Yes, there was communication. They felt that that was under control. We're hearing from the Sheriff's Department earlier in the week. They were not necessarily doing any, quote, surveillance on the parents because no charges were announced. We are hearing a difference of opinion now, as you can imagine. Different agencies pointing fingers at other agencies, saying communication was not the strongest. That's really not the story right now. We've got a mom and dad on the run facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and we need to know exactly where they are. I've been on the phone talking with sources within all different kinds of police agencies. I will keep you guys updated on air, online, and as we know, this can be changing in a matter of moments.
Karen, the other thing is you mentioned that we knew that there was a motel stay, but it was interesting for their son's arraignment the other day. They were watching via video from clearly a vehicle, but we don't know where that was.
Right, and there is some question of exactly where they were at that time. I know that a lot of cameras descended on their street, the first day this happened, and it was very clear that, that it was not a welcoming environment where we should go approach the house. And obviously a lot of guns were brought out, so reporters were really not necessarily hounding those parents because we obviously knew there was a situation that guns were involved. Yeah, you're right. We don't know exactly where they were when they had that arraignment, and that's troubling.
And lastly, Karen,
I shouldn't say arraignment, when they had the video conference call. Yeah.
Right. And I'll let you get back to working on this story here in just a moment. But lastly, given what we heard this morning from Karen McDonald, and we're going to run down those charges here in a minute, I've heard nothing but anger, boiling mad anger from parents in Oakland County, which is part of, you could, I guess, understand why these parents, the Crumbleys, might not want want to appear to face these charges because there is a great deal of frustration and anger in the community right now.
There really is an upswelling of anger, frustration, fear. I mean, and we'll get into this in detail at 5 o'clock, but when Karen McDonald described all the things that went on the day of the shooting, the warnings, the messages, the notes, the way the school handled it, the way the parents handled it, the way the mom actually sent a text message to her son saying, Ethan, don't do it. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And yes, there is some anger towards these parents. Yeah.
All right, Karen, we'll let you get back to it. We'll talk to you again on Local 4 News at 5. Let's talk about these criminal charges the Crumbleys are facing. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald announcing the charges against James and Jennifer Crumbly a little bit after noon today, each facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Now, the arraignment was scheduled for this afternoon, but of course that is what is on hold right now as they search for these 2 who are now defendants in this case. Kimberly Gill in the newsroom. KG, the prosecutor painted a pretty vivid picture while explaining the reasons for these charges.
She really did, Devin, and good afternoon to you. Any parent listening to the prosecutor's news conference today is bound to have new questions about all the red flags that seem to have been missed. The Oakland County prosecutor laid out what investigators found out about the parents' actions hours before the shooting happened, and she said the evidence overwhelmingly pointed to criminal charges.
I have tremendous compassion and empathy for parents who have children who are struggling and at risk for whatever reason. And I am by no means saying that an active shooter situation should always result in a criminal prosecution against parents. But the facts of this case are so egregious.
And you'll remember officers swarmed Oxford High School Tuesday afternoon. The prosecutor says earlier that same day, the suspected gunman, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbly, was questioned along with his parents about very disturbing drawings reported by one of his teachers. Part of the drawing showed a person who appears to have been shot and was bleeding. Investigators also say there's evidence the Crumbleys had purchased a gun for their son just days before. During that meeting, the Crumbleys did not want their son sent home. And McDonald says it's what they didn't do in that moment that added to their responsibility for these shootings.
Both James and Jennifer Crumbly failed to ask their son if he had his gun with him or where his gun was located, and failed to inspect his backpack for the presence of the gun, which he had with him. James and Jennifer Crumbly resisted the idea of then leaving the school at that time, of their son leaving the school at that time. Instead, James and Jennifer Crumbly left the high school without their son.
And just to give you a little bit of context here, parents are rarely charged in the aftermath of school shootings, but Michigan law allows for charges to be pursued if prosecutors believe someone contributed to a situation where the risk of harm or death was high. We are monitoring the new developments hour to hour, minute by minute. We'll be back at 5. And of course, there are updates on clickondetroit.com as they come in. Devin, for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right. KG, we'll see you at 5. Sure. Now, at this hour, the Crumbly son, meanwhile, remains jailed, facing all of these charges, charged as an adult, including 4 counts of first-degree murder. 4 students were killed. We continue to keep them at the front of our thoughts. Hannah St. Juliana, Justin Schilling, Tate Meir, and Madison Baldwin. 7 other people are injured. 3 remain in the hospital at this hour. The community continues to rally around their families and all the students who witnessed this awful event, and a vigil is scheduled tonight for 7 p.m. in Oxford. We move now to the coronavirus in the state of Michigan. The state now reporting more than 18,000 cases over the past 48 hours. The average shooting up now to 9,221 cases a day. That over the past 2 days. That's one of the highest daily totals we've seen since the start of the pandemic. State also reporting 277 more deaths attributed to the virus. That includes 169 identified during a vital records review. And it comes as the Department of Defense is sending nearly 24 military medical personnel to Beaumont Hospital in Dearborn to try to help with the latest COVID surge there.
The teams have been working hard to take care of the patients. They're very labor intensive. They require additional help and support than what I would consider our standard patients are. We have turn teams and different teams with physical therapy and occupational therapy to help us just mobilizing the patients to keep them moving and keeping them turning.
And ahead here tonight, it's in our 6 o'clock report, we'll be talking to the Army medical team being sent to Metro Detroit about how they'll be able to help out our local hospitals. All right, still ahead here on First at 4, Congress avoids a government shutdown, but another big problem is just 12 days away. We'll look at that. Mixed numbers on jobs and unemployment. They can hit home for a lot of us. Also, what President Biden is trying to do to get you to focus, what he wants you to focus on right now in the midst of those numbers. If you're just joining us, we are following breaking news on the manhunt for the parents of Ethan Crumbly. Charged in the deadly Oxford school shooting, James and Jennifer Crumbly charged with involuntary manslaughter in connection with the shooting. Sheriff's office says they have stopped communicating with their attorney. Their whereabouts right now, unknown. The FBI and U.S. Marshals both assisting with the manhunt. We will continue to follow the latest updates here throughout this newscast.